Hello, good people. Welcome to Beyond the Algorithm. You know who it is, Mr. Accountable Masculinity, here with another segment that's focused on ending the gender war. So, we're going to discuss this topic right here. Men need to graduate from arguing with women. Either delete them or leave them on red. Stop explaining yourselves to women that don't respect men in general. That is her daddy's issue. Think about that. A lot of y'all waste a ton of time trying to convince people that are already wired to disrespect you. Yes, it is time to turn the tide in the conversation that is associated with gender conflict. It is time. Aren't you guys tired? Tired. I got some talking points that I want to discuss, and it is going to sound like I don't care, but I care, because it's time for us to turn the corner and be the men that we say that we are, and leave something trustworthy, for discussion, for a change. So you see the ticker at the bottom of the screen. Keep that in mind as we progress through this conversation. I got a few talking points that I put to the side, and there's going to be some topics in here that might be very pointy, but I got reason to believe that they're worthy of discussion, because argumentative men are not masculine. Argumentative men cause chaos. Argumentative men slow down progress. Argumentative men are unhelpful. So if they're unhelpful, then what do we do with them? Of course, we can ignore them. That's part of it too. We have to capture their behavior in a conversation that makes sense, so that we know how to recognize the signs and teach our women to disengage from unhealthy men, because a lot of women have refined their communication skills through arguments that they've had with other women, to include their mothers, the grandmothers, the sisters, the daughters, the co-workers, the aunts, you name it, anything that falls underneath the title of a woman. So those men that they feel confident in arguing with, they have no idea how dangerous they actually are. And the men have no idea how dangerous those women actually are. So I did some thinking on this, and I came up with this. I believe that men that have a need to argue with women have a humiliation kink. They want to be dominated sexually by disrespectful women. Nothing says a man wants to be pegged by a woman like arguing with one. And if you guys know, y'all follow my content, and I talk so much about rule number 2. We don't argue with women. Women have their own issues, and so do men. We can learn to mitigate our issues by observing the conflict management skills of women. Basically, if you ever see women argue and whoever wins, what's usually the reward for winning an argument with a woman? Okay, keep that in mind, because this entire thing is about rule number 2. And if you're not familiar with rule number 2 comes from, then you haven't got the book yet. You need to go get the book. Accountable Masculinity. Yeah, identifying the disciplined man in you. And part of being a disciplined man is knowing when to disengage from unhealthy conflicts. So the men that have a problem recognizing when to disengage from a conflict, they're dangerous men. They'll argue with women. How far will they go when they argue with men? Keep that in mind. Let's see what else we got. When I see women and men arguing, I see the children of overbearing mothers and fathers without a backbone. Think about when you were a kid and you had a sibling, or you had some other conflict and adults were there to supervise. There was always somebody there to break it up or create some kind of rules and boundaries on respectful communication. So when I see men and women arguing, I'm like, what in the world could they possibly be beefing about if they don't know each other and they're not even in a relationship? And it's just intriguing. And I think about it at some point when your mother isn't involved, and if your father comes around, they say, "Hey, if I got to come back over here, I'm gonna deal with it the way I'm gonna deal with it." And your mom might do that too, in terms of establishing respect for communication between siblings or whoever else that you're in conflict with. But the older we get, that behavior never, if it never gets corrected, how does it look on adults? And that's what you see. It's so immature. You can't do anything but associate it with childish behavior. So that's what I see. I see children. A lot of men are struggling with being able to vet women that they can trust because of consistent rejection by women. Um, in that regard, a lot of men can carry, and women can carry, disrespectful conversation residue from person to person, and it doesn't help them when they're trying to develop trust and in relationships. I see women that have chosen terrible men with their egos to overcompensate for unhealed trauma, and men do it too. See, arguing is really trauma bonding when you think about it. You get off on that to some degree. In the same time that these people are heavily engaged in arguing with each other online and putting on this show as though they don't like each other, they end up in each other's inboxes too, still trying to validate attraction. Arguing with people that are committed to disagreeing with you is self-hate. They don't want what you're offering. Move along. It is pick me behavior. True pick me behavior. What do you hope to gain in proving your argument with someone that is wired to disagree with you, already fixed on disagreeing with you? What healthy thing could come out of that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Men that argue with women cosplay masculinity. They are clones. They have all of the characteristics. They look the way that you would find them attractive. They reflect some level of attractiveness. You confuse these people, make you confuse attention for attraction or attraction for attention, because they only have the characteristics, but they don't have a character that holds you there. They don't put you in a trustworthy state of mind where you feel like sharing with these people. So men that argue with women are cosplaying masculinity. Leave those argumentative women exactly where they are. Kings don't argue with women. Queens don't argue with kings. Only men and women who don't respect the opposite gender argue with each other. Come on, man. Come on. There's respect between royalty, right? Respect between royalty rather. You had to correct that. And if you call yourself a king or a queen or anything in royalty, you shouldn't be arguing. You should be displaying like diplomacy. And for those reasons, most men and women are not kings and queens. Most of them behave like the help that they claim that they're not. No, it's not real, man. That's not real. That's not royalty. Okay. So stop behaving like the help. If you're a king or queen or you fashion yourself as such, then behave that way. Women that intentionally create division with their opinions in men's spaces need to be escorted out of the conversation. Masculine men do not go into women's spaces to disrupt what women care about. I don't care how disrespectful women could be in their space. It's their space. Get out of there. We got the barbershop and we got whatever other space that we create. If they come in, I'm telling y'all, escort the women out that came there to disrupt and not there to learn, to escort them out. Because just like women got every right to put you out of their space, you need to put them out of yours if you feel like they're being disrespectful. Do not bring do not invite disrespectful women into your space and then be shocked that they don't respect the codes that you have set forth. Don't The rules, the boundaries are there for a reason. If men abide by them, do not bring disrespectful women in there to reset the rules. If she cares more about your word choice than the context of your guidance, she doesn't respect you. I know obviously women are not men. We can take criticism. We can take everything that women can take, we can take it differently and we take it better in most cases. And the men that can't take that criticism or that guidance in a healthy manner for what it is as care and concern, they got mental issues, in my opinion. And generally speaking, most of them are probably raised by women that got the same type of communication skills. So argumentative men are unhelpful to men in general, unhelpful to society, and they are cannon fodder for the legal system. So everything in life is predicated on your behavior, not just what you know. But if you don't behave properly, nobody can trust you, and we can't really get to the part of your character that's the best part of you, or the part that you want to be. So you need to be mindful of men that are focused on what you said, well, that are more focused on how you said something than what you said, especially if you are not leading in a disrespectful manner. They need to deal with the way that they process stuff. If you don't like the way somebody says something, that's one thing. Go back and listen to it and think about how you received it and how offended was your ear before you decided to respond. Man that cannot understand the value of his own leadership and respectfully put a woman in her place until he checks his mother. A lot of y'all are still being manipulated and disrespected by your own mothers, and that has a significant impact on your relationship success. Don't matter how you feel about it. I don't care. A lot of y'all got a lot of overbearing mothers that have set a template for the type of women that you are attracted to. Yes, if you grew up with a dad that was weak with no spine, and you always saw your mom overrunning your dad, and your dad never being respected by any of the women in his family, chances for you going out there meeting a woman that has that same kind of behavior pattern is pretty high. Like, it's just it, because you don't have any other template to base it off of, because you think that is love. You think that is healthy companionship until you don't. And that's why I said previously, you got to check your mama at some point if it requires it. Now, for those of you that grew up seeing your parents in love and not lust, meaning like healthy love and trust, and then putting and prioritizing the kids, prioritizing their relationship, just putting everything exactly where it goes, and being well intended and having discipline situations, then cool. You kind of take the bits and pieces that fit, and the ones that don't, you leave them alone. But ladies that's watching this, a lot of y'all are having unhealthy, disrespectful conversation with men that have not yet broken free from their mother's grip. And you're going to see a lot of that. The women that argue are typically covert narcissists that always attempt to gaslight conversations to argue the exceptions. Fellas, this goes back to like, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. And she's choosing to be disrespectful to you or not respect you at all. Is because women that think like this worship their emotions. They value how they feel over what you said. That's why I say they can't respect you. They can't. And if she's not willing to take the lesson that you're trying to lead and teach with, because masculine men teach, lead, protect, and all of the things that they say that they value, that those women say they value or they expect. If they can't respect yours, and the chances are they probably don't even respect their dads. The only men and women who have these problems the most are people raised with weak fathers or undisciplined males cosplaying as leadership. Some of y'all, your parents may not have been married, or if they were married, they may not have been healthy. You may have had a stepfather, a stepmother. It's some tweak in what mirrors an attempt at a good relationship, and it may not be working. And so you take from that whatever you take from that. And then a lot of the guys that come from that situation, they are going to interact with the opposite sex or the same sex differently. They may be competitive with men if they're a man. The women may be competitive with more with women, argumentative with men, and competitive with men. The value systems are different when it comes from a survival level household mentally. So keep that in mind. So if people have been raised with cosplay male leadership, they're going to have issues trusting men in general. In general, it's just no way that they can get out of that unless they're honest about, hey, you know what? I don't have to do what my parents did, and recognize they are doing what their parents did. Simps argue with women. Fatherless men argue with women. Red pill men argue with women. Gay men argue with women. You either masculine or you one of these right here. Masculine is about discipline. Discipline is about diffusing and collaboration. It's about peace. It's about solving problems. That's what being masculine is. It's not about the characteristics. It's about the character, man. Character. So when you pay attention online, and there's things that you should be looking for, when you see a lot of men arguing with women, that is a huge red flag. Huge red flag. And you don't even have to diffuse it. Just pay attention. These people are separating themselves from the folks that actually value discipline, communication, and actual problem solving. There's a lot of people that want to push things forward, but they're quiet because every time they see a bunch of people arguing, it's a deterrent for them to get into the fray. And I can't even say I blame them, but people want a reason to get behind and throw their support behind somebody that's healthy minded, that cares about solving problems. If people fitting into these categories right here, it's not going to be healthy. I don't care how it looks or sounds. We're talking about who can we work with to get the conversation forward so we can be better. But we can't do it with argumentative people. Respectful communication has to be the groundwork. People always talking about the love is gone. Love ain't what it used to be. What's the love predicated off of? Competition? You really think we can go further with just being disrespectful with each other? How much further does disrespect take us than respectful communication? Show me where disrespectful communication has won. Men that argue with women are the reason why women choose the bear. I know y'all hate that the women chose the bear conversation. I know why you hate it. I get it. It's understandable. But there's a group of men that inspired women to really choose the bear. Good, bad, and different. Let's just accept everything as it being true. I love saying all things are true because my individual experience does not change someone else's individual experience. I'm just reporting from my side of things, and some people are just responding from their side. But there's a group of women that spent a lot of time, whether they were the one arguing or someone was arguing with them, they were gaslighting somebody, they were gaslighting each other. The whole community of just people gaslighting each other. But those experiences shape the way women value communication, guidance, and respect and protection from men. And the argumentative men triggered these women to choose the bear. I'm not saying that they are innocent in the situation, but let's just look at it from just that side and just imagine that there's a group of men that do not value anything from women other than what they provide physically or anything like that. The men that fit the misogynistic epithets that the women use all the time. They fit the profile. But those are the men that they're talking about. They're not talking about the disciplined men that nurture, provide, and respect their woman and protect them. They're not talking about the men that didn't take care of their mothers or anything like that. They're not talking about the unhealthy minded men. They're talking about men that really value cooperation and value their duty. Yep. Now, whether they're a disciplined woman or not, that's something else. But just looking at it, if we're gonna put them, if the women gonna choose the bear, we got to say, well, which men did did the women skip over and to choose the bear? Because they did it. Whether we like it or not, we can say they're delusional. We can come up with whatever that we want to say to rebut it, but they chose the bear. But which men chose the bear? Do you think it was the men that had honor, character, and discipline, or do you think it was the undisciplined men that chase vagina, disrespect women, and are sexual infidels? Men that argue with women are usually side babies, and their mama was a side chick, or their daddy cheated on their mama. Hmm. You guys would probably read that, and it sounds real pointy, but I think it's kind of wild that we can get online and people can have whole extensive conversations and open up the conversation. The icebreaker in a lot of conversations on social media is how much butt people eat. They can talk about eating butt all day, but if I say this right here, then it's ooh, that was harsh. But if it's in a song, it's cool too. You can say the most ridiculous, thing off the cuff. If you put it to some music, you can put it to some music and get somebody to repeat it, and you can hear the beat going, and you can hear amplifying. You can hear it. But at the minute that it's written, and then the minute that it's spoken, then it's like now we got to discount it. Now we got to no, that can't be the truth. Well, what if it is? If all things are true, I accept your reality, you accept mine. These are just my observations. These are just my observations. Now, you can take what I'm saying and just go look in your own family, or you can observe somebody else's family. This stuff ain't far removed. People act like there isn't a long line of delusional men and women that have been raised the same way overall, because that's what brought on this whole conversation. Argumentative people are cut from the same cloth of a lack of discipline, of a lack of respectful communication. So these are disrespectful relationships that go along with those communication practices. Because everything is done in the dark is disrespectful. We can say that, right? Men that argue with women are usually the lamest guy in their own network. How many of y'all, fellas, how many of y'all been somewhere and there's some women in the audience or the crowd or wherever you at? It's a social event, it's a lot of women around. And you and the fellas decide y'all finna go out and do something social. And there's this one dude that if we have an issue tonight with a woman, whether it be him leaving the event and getting sidetracked or getting caught up, you know who that guy is. And generally speaking, that man that chased vagina, he the biggest liability. He the biggest liability. He just riding around. I mean, it's cool in certain settings, but if you take him out of his normal element and go put him where he got to be kind of cool with everybody, things gonna go left, and it's gonna usually be with him. Usually got the least amount of emotional discipline, can't control himself, escalate everything. that dude is usually the lamest one in the group. Usually he almost ain't no different than the baby mama that you guys complain about so much. The single mother that you complain about. Because he probably raised like that. These men grew up seeing their mamas naked and spent a lot of time dealing with the legal system. Because when you don't have any emotional discipline, you don't have any sexual discipline, you be in messed up situations with women, messed up situations probably with other dudes. You seen it. How many times have we seen the same storyline where some guy commits a violent act against another man or another woman for something that's centered on a relationship, and it ain't even his woman, or something happens to that guy. Something happens to that guy, you know? And a lot of times these dudes grew up seeing their mamas naked. It is something that's so strange to me, but nobody's discussing it. And it doesn't register for women the same way it registers for men. I've talked to a few men that had no idea why they were attracted to a certain body type of a woman, but then they confided in me and told me that they grew up seeing their moms naked. And it was not an unrealistic situation for them. And then so I decided to go do a little research just to see how much of this is true. And then check this out.
Hey, nigga.
No, because my mama different. My mama was one of those mamas. My mama stayed naked until we was damn near grown. And she'll still walk around the house naked and don't give a damn.
Yeah, back in the days, man. Mamas, they used to just mom, get out the shower and mob down the hallway.
Right,
like, mama.
Hey, my mama, don't go use the bathroom. You taking the shit, your mama hop in the shower, just.
Oh no, that's wild.
Nah, but it wasn't even. It wasn't even
like that. Just how
no, but my mom never did that. But
even what you saying, like I wasn't even thinking like, why you naked? It was just regular shit.
Exactly.
Right, they used to just buy it. Until I think I got to a certain age, it was like, all right, mama, like, golly, like, no.
I think once I left the house and I came back, I'm like, cause I forgot all about this shit. Yeah. Like my mom, y'all know my mama. My mama is goofy. She would chase us around the house naked. We were like, put the clothes on. But this is like, the age of 21 to 20 now. You know what I mean?
21.
You can't make this stuff up, man. You cannot make this stuff up. It's time to graduate from this, okay? It's time to graduate from this. I can't say it enough. And then I understand that okay, this one video. Got it. Let me play this one.
Girls who grew up with a naked mom are the true girls. Mm-hmm. I think that we view the world differently, and I think that we view other women differently.
That young lady proceeded to talk about if you grew up with a naked mom, you appreciate the woman body more, you a girl's girl. And I know she talking to the women, but that had the totally opposite effect on me as a young man growing up with a naked mama. My mama was a big woman. I mean, she was a fairly big woman. And I'm like, she just walk around naked all the time. To the point, I thought it was normal. Being naked was normalized in my head until I at least became like in high school. I swear to God, I never seen a naked woman until I turned 18. And it did nothing for me. It did nothing. Me and this girl, we were about to hang out, do our grown people stuff. Nothing happened, like nothing. I felt nothing. Very, very beautiful girl, very beautiful, but being naked is normalized in my head. Like I couldn't even do nothing with the girl because being naked is normal. Like I didn't feel nothing. So I'm looking at her, the girl looking at me. She's like, what's up? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I think I'm gay because I'm like, you real pretty, but like seeing you, like you pretty, but it ain't doing nothing for me. Like right now, like when women be taking those beautiful ass pictures of them sculptures, art, like I look at a woman's body as a work of art. And art do not arouse me. Like, so whenever I look at a woman, it's like I'm looking at a painting. And like a painting do nothing for me. Like she's beautiful, but like I like words. I like words of affirmation. That gets me going.
So can you imagine? No, let's not imagine. I could easily see how some men that have come up that way have their attraction is set because of what they saw when they was younger. Something to think about, man. We are way more impressionable than what we think. But that's what I wanted to talk about today when it comes down to it. Men got to graduate from arguing with women. Got to. It's unproductive. It's not helpful. And it's not going to create the path to respectful communication that goes along with what makes a man masculine. It's not. And this is why I talk about discipline so much. I'm going to leave y'all with this before I get out of here. We're going to shut it down.
An undisciplined man is a weak man. He has no control. He's not controllable with his finances. He don't control his flesh. He can't control his wife. He's just undisciplined. You're weak. If you fall for every woman that come across your life, and you got somebody in your corner, or you got a woman and you fall for through your flesh, you weak. Period. I don't care what you talking about. I'm a man, we supposed to flourish. And the hell with all that. That ain't what you decided when you got with that woman. And tell her, hey, look, I'm gonna be out here spreading my seeds everywhere. That ain't what you supposed to do. You ain't keeping it 100. And you damn sure ain't disciplined. So you ain't keeping it 100. You ain't standing on business. You undisciplined. You can't control that. Any man that can control that part right there is very strong. Period.
All right, folks. It's been a great episode. This is your boy Victor Vincent with Beyond the Algorithm, ambassador of accountable masculinity. Rules 1 through 5. Rules 1 through 5. Rule number 2 was this episode being most important. No arguing with women. It's time to graduate, fellas. Time to graduate. Live your life beyond the algorithm. Get offline. Respectful communication. Love you, folks. Like, share, subscribe, repost, all of that stuff. Follow me on TikTok. Follow the Facebook group. Follow the YouTube channel. Share it with people. Let me know what you think in the comments.